keep those behind closed doors, and we can make this thing work. But you coming out after every play or every missed throw or every interception or every sack that I take or every overthrow and to critique that play is not beneficial, not only for me, but for this team. Because now you plant seeds of doubt in the team's head because you are the head coach. And they're like, well, damn, the head coach say that he ain't Tom Brady. He ain't looking like that. So what am I to think? So, no, I do not believe they've always been on the same chord. Because how many times, Bruce, let Tom run some play action, run some motion, run some this, do some of that. And it wasn't until the game before the bye week that they did some motion, that they did a lot of what Tom Brady wanted to do. So I do not believe they've had the greatest relationship. I do not believe they've been on the same page. That is my belief. Looking at it from the outside, hearing what Bruce is saying, Skip, I call bull jive.
And I call double baloney. I am with you times 100. Something happened over the bye week. I don't know what it was. It's not like Brady to have a closed door with the head coach. His father taught him to do it the right way. You have to be coachable. Even if you're the biggest star on the team, you have to obey the head coach. It's ingrained in his psyche. And so he tries to be not the coach's pet, just coachable. Like whatever you say, coach. That's why it worked with Belichick for 20 years. Because he'd say, I don't love this, but okay. And he allowed Belichick to get away with scathing critiques, closed door film sessions to the team. That he allowed Belichick to send a message to the team, I'm in command here. I don't care how big a star. He can be called the GOAT or whatever you want to call him. Call him an elephant or a giraffe, or you can call him whatever you want to call him, but I'm in charge in the confines of this film room.
Brady accepted it because he believed it was the best interest of the team. Brady's looking at this. I don't know how this serves the team.
No, I agree. So I don't know if the GM sat them down together. I don't know if the GM went straight to Arians. I don't know if ownership went to Bruce Arians during the break and said, enough. We need the good cop now. We need support. We don't need scathing critiques of the greatest quarterback ever. I told you, in my career, I have never been more offended by a coach's post-game quotes than I was by his, especially after the 2 New Orleans losses. And they were debacles both. I give you that. They were nightmarish for Brady and for the whole team. But when I look back at the quotes after the first game, just to remind everybody, virtual OTAs, not one preseason game got played. He's throwing balls in the park, and they get shut down in the park because they're violating COVID ordinances, right? So that's all he had to work with his team. And all of a sudden, the NFL schedule makers throw them into the fire at New Orleans against your arch rival in the division, the defending champ, obviously, in your division, and say, good luck. You got to go play there. So he goes and plays there, and he had the pick six, was a horrible idea. The other throw, I defended him on. Arians ripped him on it. Then Arians came out the next day and said, I looked at the film, and it was actually Mike Evans' fault. But he also said right after that first game, you know, he looked like Tom Brady in practice, so it was kind of unusual to see that in a game because New Orleans didn't do anything we didn't get ready for. What is the message? Don't blame me. Don't look at me.
Tom effed up.
Hey, look, blame him. I don't know. He looked like Tom Brady. I thought we signed Tom Brady. That looked like some Tom, Dick, or Harry out there. I don't know who he was, right? Don't look at me. I'm Bruce Arians. I coached Peyton Manning. I coached Andrew Luck. I coached Ben Roethlisberger. I coached Carson Palmer, right? I coached all those guys, and I don't even know who this guy was. And then after the second New Orleans game, this is right after the game, he's ripping him for a throw to Chris Godwin. He said, oh, Chris read that route the right way. That was on the quarterback. Oh, really? This is the GOAT you're talking about. And then he said after the game, Mike, meaning Mike Evans, Mike was open a bunch in that ball game. We just didn't target him. Really? Okay. And then on a throw to Gronk that got picked off, he said, we should have gone to Antonio on that play, but instead we went to Gronk.
Okay. Tom
right.
Skip, normally
it's just scathing. It's like with that. It's the way you would treat like your backup. You know, like a backup rookie quarterback who got thrown into the fire, and you just sort of say, well, what do you expect from a rookie?
Skip, you've asked a bunch of questions, and normally what happened if somebody gets a pick or somebody fumbles, you ask the coach what happened. He says, I know the play you're talking about, but I would need to look at the film to see what went wrong.
Fine, yeah.
Dude, he just come out, oh, that was his fault.
Yeah, without looking at the film.
No. It's his fault.
Yeah.
And so, Skip, this is why I believed that Tom Brady would have a conversation during the bye. He and Bruce Arians would sit down, because if I read also, Skip, that BA and Tom wanted to have a golf outing, and the NFL nipped that in the bud. So that hold on. Here's the guy, Tom Brady, has never had an outing with his former head coach about golf. Now all of a sudden, even though Coach Belichick, Skip, was very scathing in his critique behind closed doors, he always Heisman polls kept Tom at arm's distance. And so, but now all of a sudden,
I know for a fact Tom wanted to play off-season golf with Belichick. They played together one time because they got paired at Pebble Beach.
So now all of a sudden, at the 21st season, Skip, Tom Brady on the bye week, he wants to go play golf with a head coach.
It sounded like a PR move to me. It's like, we got to do damage control here.
Yes.
We've got to send a new message coming out of the bye. We're great
united.
friends.
Yes.
We're golfing buddies.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
And so Tom's quote yesterday was, I feel we have a great relationship. From the moment I got here, we've had a great dialogue, and I certainly appreciate all the insight he gives me and the way he coaches and leads. That sounds like a PR quote, like that was scripted by his PR director, right?
Thank you. Normally, Skip, you mentioned that Tom Brady's dad he was like, son, you always be courteous and respectful to the head coach, and you never talk.
It's like honor thy father and thy mother. This is the same concept, you know, honor thy head coach.
But Skip, my grandparents and my parents would look at counseling, like counseling for what? Y'all get together and y'all talk it out. Things are different now.
I know.
Tom Senior, things are different now. Just accepting what the coach says, when I got a problem with it, I'm going to be respectful, but I'm going to go to him in a respectful manner and say, Coach, the things that you're saying publicly, it doesn't help me, it doesn't help the team, and I see no benefit in it.
No benefit.
So I would appreciate it if there's a critique that you want to have of me, let's just have that behind closed doors. And I know who BA is. I mean, I've watched him enough to know that he's very critical publicly of his players. He was like that with Jameis. He's like that with all of his quarterbacks, with all his players. But I think in this situation right here, Tom was accepting of Coach Belichick because he believed it was best for the team. And actually what Coach Belichick was doing, he was coaching the team through Tom. That's what Bobby Mitchell used to say, the coach, Paul Brown used to get on him when he was really Jim fumble, but he yelling at Bobby Mitchell.
Okay.
Even though
maybe.
So he would have to yell at
I don't know if I'm giving Bruce that much credit to be that sort of calculating.
No. I'm saying that's what. No. I'm not saying he did. I'm saying that's what Coach Belichick was doing.
Oh yeah, Belichick did.
Okay,
I got it.
Yeah, Coach Belichick. No.
I don't think there's method to this.
No. That's just him.
This was Bruce's ego speaking.
Yes. I agree.
All right, so here we go. Out of a bye week, they won their first game by hook or crook because Dan Bailey kept missing field goals and extra points and left 10 points on the field. But they got to 8. So now it's like we need a good cop instead of the bad cop, because it's going to do us no good for him to continue to rip and slash me after games if we lose another game. And it's highly possible they will. They got 2 with Atlanta and 1 at Detroit. We'll see. But the point is, this game is the most dangerous game, is this Sunday. This is, once again, I told you last week was sink or swim, and they barely swam.
They swam. They made
the shore barely, gagging, spitting up some water, right? Okay, so at Atlanta is scary to me because it's a division rival, and I don't think Julio's going to play, but I'm not sure about that. But still, they have enough firepower. Do you remember what they did to the Raiders? We just talked about the Raiders just a couple of weeks back. Under Raheem Morris, they're 4-4. They won 43-6 at Atlanta over the Raiders when the Raiders were flying fairly high.
And they beat Minnesota convincingly in Minnesota.
They beat them with 40-plus points, okay?
So they can score.
Okay. Are they capable against this Bucs collapsible defense of putting up 30 or 40? Sure they are. Okay, so this is the most dangerous one to me of all. And they better be on somewhat the same page and united, at least in public, to get through this game.
Yeah, but I do not believe they have this great relationship that Tom Brady is speaking of.
Yep, agreed.
Now remember, relationships take work, so hopefully this will be a turning point for both Bruce and Tom. But let's get to that game because Buccaneers and Falcons is featured in this Sunday's Fox Super 6 contest.